Hi, my name is Geddie, and I'm with Netsync. I'm the cloud product specialist here. And today we're going to talk about Appstream pricing. This is a question that we get a lot, is how do we understand how much an Appstream infrastructure might cost? And so today we're just going to show the page on AWS. One of the nice things about AWS is that it is one of the most transparent marketplaces in the world. If you want to know how much something costs, all you have to do is look it up. And so we're going to go over this, and we're going to cover a few topics, and hopefully at the end you'll have a better idea of how to think about pricing. But if you have a large organization and you're interested in how to do forecasted pricing, or how maybe to do this for a budget, if you have a fiscal year budget or maybe a 2-year budget, let us know. We actually have calculators built that can help you with that kind of estimation. Okay. So the important part here to understand is that there are 4 basic cost categories in the Amazon Appstream infrastructure universe. There are fleets, and there's a AlwaysOn Fleet and an OnDemand Fleet. And so it's important to understand that these are the same thing except how they start. So if you have an AlwaysOn Fleet, that means that your instances are running all the time and they're always there. So when your end users connect, they're going to connect instantly to those instances and run whatever application you're trying to provide to them. So the drawback is that when you're doing that, you're always paying the connected rate. So, and we'll show what those rates are. There's a wide array of rates depending on what instance type you choose, but you're always paying the rate as if a user is connected, whether or not they are connected. Now, and then we have on-demand instance fleets, and these actually make resources available to you and guarantee that you have resources available based on various scaling policies. But when the users connect, it can take between 60 and 90 seconds for their session to come online. And once it's online, the 2 instance types are exactly the same. They have the same kind of memory and the same kind of CPU, the same performance. The only difference is how long it takes one to connect versus the other. The other difference is that in an on-demand instance fleet, you don't pay the connected instance price unless someone is actually connected. So other than that, you just pay it's called an idle image fee. That fee is 2.5 cents per hour. So we actually work with our customers and say, okay, let's understand what it is you need to make sure that your fleets are properly sized. And when they are sized correctly, we only have just a few idle instances, and 2.5 cents per hour is actually not that expensive when you think about the grand scheme of things, when a lot of more powerful instances can be 50 cents or $1 an hour to run. And we'll cover what some of those look like here in just a second. Okay, the third one is called an image builder instance. And this is an instance that's running. It's normally used by your IT administration, or if you are like Netsync, we actually have a staff that does nothing but maintain images for our customers. The image builders are essentially instances that are running out there in an authoring mode, so that they are usually blank Windows images, and then we install software onto them per whatever it is that we're trying to stream. So in the case of, say, Adobe Creative Cloud or AutoCAD, we would bring up an image builder instance. We would install properly AutoCAD on it, make sure licensing is working, everything else, capture that image, and it would become an image available to a fleet, either an on-demand or always-on fleet instance. And then, of course, we have user fees. User fees are important. It's a fee that gets forgotten a lot of times, and so I wanted to point that out here very specifically. If you are an educational institution, in most cases, you qualify for very discounted pricing. So if you do not have a organizational agreement, say like a Microsoft volume license agreement that allows you to have the SAL, so that allows for remote connection to Microsoft operating systems, then Amazon can provide that for you. You don't need to go out and sign another contract with Microsoft. It's not a big deal. The nice part about it is that because you're a public institution, so a K-12, university, not-for-profit, that sort of thing, The normal price or the average price for that sort of license is 44 cents or 45 cents, depending on the agreement you have, per user per month. So for every unique user you have connect to an Appstream's instance once or many times per month, it doesn't matter. The first time they connect, it records a monthly user fee. And that is, in case of public institutions, about 44 or 45 cents per month, one-time fee per month per user. Now, if you are a for-profit institution and you're just a corporation, Microsoft does charge that, and it can be included if you have a Microsoft licensing agreement. You can have that included, then you don't have to pay anything because you're already paying for it. If you don't have that, the normal user fee for a for-profit organization is $4.19 per user per month. The nice part about Amazon is that you have lots and lots of instance types. You are not stuck into building or buying a particular kind of server and just dealing whatever CPU and memory that server provides to you. What you have is choice. And you have choice of performance and price, and we get to pick. And so if you don't know which one to pick, actually Netsync probably does. We have customers using different instance types all the way up and down this kind of catalog of pricing that we're going to talk about, and we can help make sure that you pick the right instance type for your application to perform correctly. So let's kind of start at the top. We have general purpose instances. So the least expensive instance for Amazon Appstreams is 7.5 cents per hour. And when I say that, what I'm talking about is connected, somebody streaming using the application time. And as a reminder, if you're using an AlwaysOn Fleet, that is all the time. And if you're using OnDemand, it's only when they're connected. But 7.5 cents per hour, and that provides, it's what they call a stream standard small. And believe it or not, there's actually a lot of applications that this makes a lot of sense. We want people to do the most cost-effective thing that they can for their organizations. And we actually have universities and K-12 school districts who need to give and provide a standard version of Office, Microsoft Office, to people who may not have Windows machines or can't install Office on the machine that they have. A great example is a Chromebook. That's a very common use case. And so it doesn't actually require a lot of resources to run Office, and so they can actually provide the most modern Office application set available to their end users to any device as long as it has an HTML5 compliant browser on it, and they can do it for 7.5 cents per hour for as long as they're connected using it. Okay, and so we have like various different versions of it, and you can see as we go down the list, things get a little more CPU and a little more memory. And then we have other ones that are called compute optimized instances. This is important. There are certain applications where they need more CPU. They benefit from more CPU and don't really need as much, like say GPU or graphical processing. They need a lot of CPU or a lot of memory. And so we actually have these that are designed for compute optimized instances and other like memory optimized instances. This is a good one. We see customers who use certain graphics utilities that aren't Adobe, but let's say there is one out there. It's called GIMP. It's an open source graphics manipulation program, and it's often seen in places where they don't want to use or can't afford the licensing from the Adobe Creative Cloud. Now, it does not, as a software, benefit from a graphics card. It benefits from CPU and memory, and as much memory as you can give it. Essentially, it tries to put everything in memory and run it through the CPU. And so, depending on the application that you're using, we may recommend that even though you're using something that is like a graphics program, that you not use a graphics instance, because it wouldn't be the best use of your money. And we know this because we have customers who are using it, and we benefit from their experience. And then down here, we have various graphics instances. The one that you'll see the most of, especially in the Adobe Creative Cloud and AutoCAD software, it's called Stream, the graphics design instance versions. And so we see two versions depending on what it is you're trying to do. The one is called Stream Graphics Design Extra Large, and essentially you can see here it's 50 cents per hour of streaming, it's probably the most common one that we see for Adobe Creative Cloud. It is actually the one that is referenced in the paper that's been written co-authored with AWS and Adobe. This is the very specific instance that they reference and they recommend. And so we start with that instance, and in say 90 to 95% of the cases, that's the one that they use for everything. Where we sometimes recommend the higher instance is when we are using like real-time video editing, and they're trying to scrub across a timeline, things like this that are very, very graphically intensive and need a lot of memory. Then the occasional customer, just for one application, one part of the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite, we may run that one on what they call the 2 extra large, which does cost $1 per hour, but only for that one application. So it is just a choice of performance versus user experience. And like I said, on almost every case, they choose the 50 cent per hour instance and not anything that's more expensive. So we want you to use your money cost effectively. Okay, so like I said, it is a very transparent marketplace, and it can get a little daunting because there's so many different prices. Netsync has calculators that we've developed specifically to help people understand either monthly, annual, and even buy 2-year budgets, depending on the state that you work in, and allow you to be able to make sure that you've got a budget that's built to be able to support any kind of AppStream's workloads that you might have. All right, that's a good overview of what AppStream pricing is. If you have any questions, let us know. Again, my name is Geddie, and we'll be here to help you. Thanks.